And just like that, we are back with another episode of Inside the Festival with yours truly, the one and only Africa Allah, Mistress of the B Team DJs. And today, I've got one of my favorite artists from the Bahamas on the line, and we are talking about just the professionalism and music calling, right? So Nishie L.S, Miss Loosely herself.
Hey there, I forgot what's going on, girl. What's going on?
You know, I fail to realize that a lot of people, because I talk to you so much, or I've spoken to you so much. I'm always surprised when people are like, "Oh, you know her," like they. If you're like, "Oh, I really want to meet Nishi," I'm like, "Oh, she's like a regular person, you know." But
Yep, yep.
for people
It's
who
quite the
don't know
pedestal
who,
they put me on. It's quite the pedestal.
right? So for people who don't know who Nishie L.S is, give us a little backstory on Nishi.
Well, before Nishi was Nishi, Nishi was once Anishka. I mean, she's still Anishka, but that's my government name. Everyone knew me as roughly, I'm a band girly by heart. That's where it all really began, singing backgrounds and doing the band thing. But Nishie L.S is a staple all on her own, but she is aware of many hats: law enforcement officer, mother, wife. So it's a whole lot that is going on in the life of Nishi outside of her being, that lively, energetic entertainer that keeps you on your feet and keeps you on your toes and keeps you on edge most of the time. The expectations are high and I love it. That's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'm a bit of a homebody. I really don't go much places unless it requires me to. So you won't see me out and about like a lot of other artists are, but I'm very private and laid back. Pretty cool. I love my dog, my cat, my family. So you'll most of the time see me at home, find me at home or just, in my little shell, in my little corner.
By day, you're a law enforcement officer, a
Yes,
role that requires immense discipline and not no nonsense approach, right? But
absolutely.
how does it feel to switch gears from enforcing the law to losing yourself on stage?
It's not an easy switch, I'll tell you that. It's difficult taking off one hat and putting on another and maintaining that level of decorum with the general public because, normally when I deal with the general public, it's in a more disciplined way. So it's not an easy feat, but over the years, the experience and scenarios that have presented themselves, that's pretty much all I can say because the stories I can tell has garnered the ability to master the switch. So it's not easy, but it's possible now to a degree.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with it now.
Now, I know you said you're a band girly, but many people
Hmm.
found hobbies during the pandemic, but you found a
Hmm.
second career. There was a specific
Absolutely.
moment at work or at home where you realized that music was no longer just a hobby, but a necessity.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
was that moment? What was that aha moment that like, here I am?
Really, that aha moment came way before the pandemic. This
Okay.
was something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And it was just the fact that I was completely ignorant to how to go about doing it. And so, through my experience in being a band girly, I developed the ability to hone my stage presence and master my ability to control the stage, control the band that's backing me because I always tell persons that come to me looking for advice, listen, you could have a band leader, you could have a person who runs the show when it comes to dealing with the band, but when those stage lights hit and the spotlight is on you, you're in charge. And that took a lot of time and experience. Me wanting to come out as an artist was something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. I just never was able to. It was more or less a confidence thing. I didn't have that much faith in myself, my ability to write music, my ability to lock in on vocals. Mind you, vocals is something that I was always very good at, but to make it work for me, I was just always so good at making other people sound good. And to take that ability and apply it to what it was that I wanted to do to create the brand that is Nishie L.S. It was a long road coming, a very very long road. The experience, the times that I was burned, learning, because you got to stub your foot before you learn how to really move forward. And so those lessons taught me a lot, taught me what to do, what not to do. Watching other artists and paying attention and doing my homework and studying, learning the business, all of that was something that took years to develop and build. And the pandemic was just the opportunity to take everything that I would have learned and applied to myself over the years and make it work for me.
Well, you definitely made it work for you. You definitely made it work for you.
Yep.
How did your fellow officers react when Anishka suddenly became the voice heard on every radio station in the 242?
How did they feel? They're pretty proud. I mean, believe it or not, they boast about it all the time. They're happy to be able to say that they have a legendary artist in their lineup of officers. It's definitely a bragging point in conversations with other law enforcement agencies. So yeah, they're pretty happy about it.
That track, Loose Me,
Hmm.
became a phenom. Like that track became a cultural touch point.
So unexpected.
Why do you think that specific sound resonated so deeply with Bahamians during such a restrictive time?
I feel like because a lot of people could have connected with it, a lot of people experienced the same things and they could have related to it. I think that's what really took the song to the level that it deserved to be. I put my heart and my soul into that, not expecting much at all because that was during a time when we didn't know if we were ever going to see a stage again as entertainers, and so the world was unsure, we were unsure, and it was a very scary time. And so to lighten the mood, and music is my therapy. Songwriting is my therapy. Creating vocals from scratch is my therapy. And so I said, you know what, let's just throw it out there and see what happens. But it was received so well, far beyond what I expected it to. And the lyrics, a lot of people resonated with. It was predominantly about my pandemic experience, but a lot of people took it to mean so many other different things. And as I spoke with my fan base over the years, they would come to me and say, "Boy, Nishie, listen to me. I was with that man. I had to tell him, loose me, let me go." And then persons in the religious area, they reference the song in their sermons. Pastors have reference the songs in their sermons. You gotta lose yourself of pain, lose yourself of anguish, lose yourself of anger. And so it was so many other ways in which it was perceived, and people applied it to their lives, to their messages, to the masses. And so it really made an impact, and it was so unexpected, and I'm really, really grateful for what it's done, not only for myself but for everyone else that connects with it.
Yeah, that song is a very deep song, and when you look at it from so many different layers, it really, like you said, it resonated with people because it related to whatever it was that they were going through and
Yep.
however they
Yep.
interpreted it.
Hmm.
With
Hmm.
that being said, walk us through your songwriting process because you said, at one point you were insecure about your capabilities.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Lose Me wasn't the very first song that I wrote. The very first song that I wrote was entitled Big Gal. And it just didn't sit well with me. I didn't feel like this was the right one. And I think I was, that was my crawling stage of songwriting. Putting words together, creating the conundrums, and making it fit with a track or locking it in with a track from a musical standpoint is not easy. People feel as if it's really, really easy, but it really isn't. Which is why, some songs make it and some songs don't. And my writing process, I realized what worked for me during that time was, okay, if we have a track, it's evolved so much since then. But initially, for this song, there was a track that was presented to me, and I was like, okay, I like it. I really, really like it. In fact, I asked the producer to let me do something with it, not knowing what I was going to do, if I was even capable of doing anything with sense with it. But he gave it to me, and in about 3 days, the lyrics just came to me. I was sitting at work as an essential worker during the pandemic. I was sitting at work. I was stationed at Prince George Wharf then, and the words just came to me. I was like, "Nishi, what are you going to write about? What are you going to write about?" And I remember this. There was this phrase that my dad and his friends always used, and it was "loose me." When the guys sitting at the bar and they crack their jokes, and one will shout "loose me," and I was like, how can I use that phrase and apply it to what it is that I'm trying to do? Like, what's my message? And so I was like, okay, let's talk about my pandemic experience. Okay, loose me. I don't want to be inside. I don't want to be indoors. I want to be outside. Like, I don't like this. I want to be back on stage. I don't like being inside. My dog driving me crazy. And so that's where the inspiration came from. And like once I found which direction I wanted to go into, I realized, okay, the words just came. The words just came, and that's why I always say it's never luck. It's always God. It's always God. And I feel like that was the moment He chose to give me what it was that I needed, and it was the right words, explained the right way at the right time with the right track, and boom, my hit was born.
A hit was
But
born.
predominantly, that's my process. Once I have the music, I sit down and I think and I try to figure out, okay, what's my message? What direction I want to go into with this particular track? Like, what is this track giving you? How are you feeling when you listen to this track? And then I take whatever feeling I get and I just start writing random words. Random words. It doesn't, it's not a sentence, it's not a stanza. It's just random words. This makes me feel light. This makes me feel airy. This makes me feel like bouncing. This makes me feel like whining. And then, okay, where do we go from there? And, it just builds from there. Some songs take longer to write than others, and then some you just get literally by the end of like an hour or two, you have a whole song, whole format, layout, everything.
So basically, every experience is different when it comes to the music, depending on
It
how
is.
you feel at that moment or what you're trying to translate.
It is. It is. And then over the years, it's evolved to where now I have my music coming to me in my sleep.
Mm.
I have words and lyrics and stanzas and vocal arrangements coming to me in the middle of the night, and so now I have to pitch up out of my sleep and drunk with sleep, and I'm humming in my phone. Humming in my phone and writing random words in my notepad and connecting it to the voice notes so that I could remember what I did the night before when I wake up the next day, because I found that I've lost a lot of really, really good music because I did not wake up in the moment and just threw it in my phone. And when I woke up the next morning thinking that I would have remembered, it's gone. It's gone.
Hmm. I think
And I'm
all
definitely,
brilliant people have that experience at some point.
yes, yes. And I am taking on the mentality of Michael Jackson. I have to get up and do this now, because if not, God's gonna give it to somebody else.
And that's right. That is definitely it.
So before I listen to someone come to me with a song, or I hear a song on the radio that I dreamed about, yeah, I'm not letting that happen.
Has that ever happened though?
What's that?
Have you heard something on the radio and been like, hey, I was thinking about that?
Not yet, thank
Oh,
God, because I think I would have been able to sleep months after that. Like, for real. I haven't heard anything that I know for sure I would have dreamed about. Because, once you hear it again, it'll instantly come back to you.
right.
And I haven't heard anything that seems anyway familiar with something that I probably would have dreamt about or thought about or heard before. So thank you.
So now the regatta circuit, you've become a
Mhm.
staple at various regattas. For those who have never been, can you describe the dust and energy of Family Island Festival performances? The
Heavy on the
dust.
dust. Heavy on the dust. Because listen, we kicking up all the day. We kicking it up. We having a dandy. It's an experience. It's a vibe. The energy is always high. The liquor is flowing. The food is piping. The DJs are on point. The bands are just giving you all of the energy. And the artists that perform, myself included, everyone has something different to offer. So it's a different flavor, a different feeling, a different vibe. And it's an exciting experience, especially for those who would have never been there and would want to experience it for the first time. If you've never been, please go. If just only to one. Just take the time, invest, save if you have to, because I know, in this economy is a little rough to be traveling unless it's absolutely necessary. So I get it. But it's really, really worth the experience. Definite core memory you want to lay down in your mind and just experience it. It's hard to explain. It's better to just experience it for yourself.
Do you consider yourself a rake and scrape artist?
Absolutely, absolutely. Although I am an artist of many, many different abilities, I sing many different genres of music and I've mastered many different genres of music. But my heart is most definitely with Rake and Scrape. And then it's impossible to listen to Rake and Scrape and not want to move and not want to feel, connected to people or not connect with other people through music. Like, Rake and Scrape music gets you to connect and vibe with complete strangers, and it's happy and it's carefree and it's pure and it's raw, unfiltered, and I love that about our music. I just really wish, or hope and pray, I should say, that the day comes where when the world can really experience Bahamian music, and that's my goal as an artist and as a Bahamian artist and as a Rake and Scrape artist. That's my goal, to get the world to be able to experience what we Bahamians experience on a regular, like what is normal for us, would definitely be quite the experience for the outsider.
I'm glad that you said that because like rake and scrape is rake and scrape
Hmm.
is an oral and physical tradition, right? How
Yes.
how do you ensure that your production stays modern enough for the clubs while honoring the traditional goatskin drum, saw, and all the other sounds that come with rake and scrape?
It's not an easy feat because you don't want to lose the foundation of the music, but there is the ability to evolve. What I try to focus most on in my production is the quality of the production itself. You have a lot of good rhythm scrape music out there, but unfortunately the quality of the production itself is what really devalues the music in the industry right now. And so I'm never happy putting anything out unless I am completely 100% satisfied with the production quality of it. So that's the mix, that's the master, because there are a lot of elements that need to be taken into consideration. And not the average producer, and not any old average producer can do that because you have to be of it to really understand what is necessary, what needs to protrude at what time, what needs to pull back at what time, when do the vocals need to be more predominant as opposed to this a guitar solo, we need to focus on that, or horn lines. There are a lot of elements that are a part and that make up break and scrape music now to the level that it's at. It's a different type of music. So you want to be able to showcase everything that incorporates into what we do as break and scrape music now. And so I feel like what I do personally and where I set myself apart with a lot of other behemoth artists is the vocals. I focus predominantly on my vocals because I know my producer got the music aspect of it, and he's gonna make sure that that saw coming through, that goat skin coming through, those guitar licks and yucks coming through. You know, the horn lines are where they need to be. That's never my concern. My concern is how are the vocals? How do you sound? Where are you trying to go? Are you doing too much? Are you doing too little? And so there's a balance that needs to be placed between the lead vocal and the background vocals. And you find that with a lot of break and scrape music today, that's really not the main focus. You find a lot of persons are able to entertain, but are they real singers? Are they real vocalists? I mean, no shade, no
But
tea, no shade.
does singing really count in rake and scrape?
It should.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's how I feel. It should. Now, mind you, it really does depend because based on the song, the way it was written, the lyrics, and all of that stuff, you would find that vocal ability is not that big of a deal and it's not that necessary. But what happens when you perform it live?
That part.
What happens when you on that stage and it's just you? No EQ, no mix, just raw, you and Mike. What happens then? Are we still able to understand the lyrics? Because the key was probably done, the original key was probably done too low or too high. What happens then? Because in a lot of instances, people feel like because the song sounds good on the radio doesn't necessarily mean when you perform it live it sounds the same. And more often than not, it doesn't. Because even for me, as experienced as I am and as advanced as I am as a vocalist, I've had my shortcomings on live performances. I've listened to some playbacks and some shows, and I'm like, Jesus, girl, you was off key. Girl, you sound flat. Girl, you sound sharp. What you was doing? You know, when you caught up in the moment and you jumping up and down and you running out of air, it's like a lot of different things you need to take into consideration. And so presentation is imperative on all levels, not just in the studio.
You touched on a couple different things that I want to address. Okay, so we've talked about the singing part, but
Mhm.
you said what happens when you run out of air? How important is endurance in a performance?
It is imperative that you build it.
And
It's
how do you
imperative.
build endurance?
The same way you would build endurance with any other sport that you play. You gotta exercise. You gotta train. You gotta eat right. You gotta practice your vocal warm ups, vocal cool downs, your breathing exercises. Get your diaphragm toned. Get your lungs in gear. Like it's a whole lot. And then breath control during performances. Breath control during performances. See what happens sometimes is we get really hyped, we get really excited on stage, the crowd is vibing, the energy is high, and we jumping up and down and we doing backflips on stage. And then when time for us to put down like the arm out, we like we done. We can't get a note out. And then you go flat, everything off key, and you can hear where they're gasping for air. It's happened to me. It's happened to many other artists. I've seen it for myself. And so, discipline, control, exercise. You have to be able to run or at a decent job and still be able to talk and sing. If you're not able to do that, you better off just standing one spot and singing. Because the minute you get hype and that energy is high, you're gonna lose it. It's automatic. It's gonna happen.
I'm glad that you said it because I've said this decades now that that being an entertainer is more than just being on. It's about
Yep.
being able to control yourself in
Yes.
multiple environments and
It
always
is.
be able to continuously speak and engage with
Mm-hmm.
people without
Mm-hmm.
sounding winded or looking like
Mm-hmm.
you're going to fall out.
Mm-hmm. And there have been times when I've literally had to hold my breath and sing. But that is something you learn to do
Hold your
when
breath
you,
and sing.
oh, yeah.
Explain.
Okay, when I say hold my breath, there's very little air in the lungs, but there's air in the diaphragm.
Ah,
And so you use that diaphragm. No, okay, not really air in the diaphragm because air can't get the diaphragm. But you use a particular muscle in your diaphragm to push that last little ounce of air at the
mm,
very bottom of your lungs out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to anatomically describe it, but at one point, there comes a time when you completely run out of air, or you feel like you've run out of air, but not necessarily. What you would normally use when you breathe normally would run out, but there's air still in there. This is where you now exercise your diaphragm to push that last little bit of air out. And that's something I've been able to master. And so I call it holding your breath and still singing. I call that being able to hold your breath and still sing. I can't really describe it from an anatomical perspective, but that's something that I've been able to master also. So I find that when I run out of air, I use my diaphragm. I push that last little bit of air out so that I could get that note out to get to that spot where I could pull some air in.
okay.
And then there's the ability to let the crowd work for you. Sing a little piece of this for me, little catch my breath for 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
I see
You know?
a lot of people use that cheat code.
Yes, that is the ultimate cheat code. Sometimes we do it because we didn't remember, we forgot the lyrics. Sometimes we do it because we ran out of air. Sometimes we do it because we lost our place. So yeah, that's the ultimate cheat code. That's the ultimate cheat code. But now, whatever you're singing, the people got to know
Right.
to be able to sing it back. So you have to know when to apply that. Also, you come on stage with a brand new song and you want people sing it. I don't know how that works, but that's how it is.
I definitely want to get into the global space, and we'll tap into that a little further down in the conversation. But
Mhm.
before we get into that, you now have a digital home. You've recently launched a new website, and
Yes.
as an artist who handles so much of her own trajectory, how does this platform help you move beyond the likes and the social media to a professional global brand?
It helps because now it provides an avenue, a home base for persons that are not just soliciting artists, but persons that are researching what the Bahamas has to offer when it comes to live entertainment, when it comes to the orange economy from a musical perspective. It exposes, it allows more exposure for you as an artist, and it allows persons to tap into what it is that you have to offer outside of persons looking at everything as a general demographic. It's a way to separate, set yourself apart from other persons, and to let the global diaspora realize that, hey, we got it together down here. You see what I'm saying? And I want people to be able to have access to me also. Business cards are a thing of the past. For me, you should be able to go online and look up Bahamian artists. You should be able to Google
Mm.
Bahamian artists. You should be able to find and tap into Bahamian music, and it should be at the click of a button. Websites are a must. It's no longer a luxury. It's a necessity.
I need to hire you as the chairman of the orange economy because I've been no, because I've noticed that in the recent years, and this is really the last several months, I've seen a decline in artist-based websites and or websites for creatives because they feel that the owned platforms or the owned soil by the big conglomerates, the social media platforms, are enough.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's a third party platform. And when they change the algorithm or they change their community rules or they decide to charge, dog eat your lunch
What do you
and
do?
you don't
What do
have
you
a
do?
presence anymore.
You don't. You
I
don't.
always reference 2006 when MySpace shut down and everybody
Girl.
lost and everybody lost their visibility.
Yep.
Every artist was scrambling because they no longer had a touch point to get in contact
Mm-hmm.
with their
Mm-hmm.
audience.
Mm-hmm. Just today was on TikTok. I posted a promotional video for North Andros and Barry Island Regatta, and they took away my visibility because it didn't meet their community standards. And I'm like, what? It's a promotional video using my music and an original flyer with a video, a live video of myself promoting an event. And they took away the visibility. So in other words, it's not gonna show up on a lot of people's FYP. What do
And
you do?
why did they take it away? What was the thing that you violated? What community guideline did you violate using your own music and your own likeness?
Hold on. It didn't really, let me see if I can pull it up. It didn't really, ineligible for recommendation. And I'm pulling it up now. Unoriginal, low quality, and QR code content. I don't understand what that means.
Oh, okay, because it had a QR code on it. I don't know what the unoriginal means.
Because you can't get more original than that. I don't know what that means. What you think it says AI? I don't know.
So
But
couple years ago, and just recently during the Bahamas Carnival season, I was doing some marketing and I had a image. I had a woman in Junkanoo costume from 2025's Junkanoo, right?
right,
Promoting, the authenticness of the weekend.
right,
And I was flagged. So I had to go back and really look at it like, no way. Because if anybody, any client that you can talk to will tell you that I am very, 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 very strict about the amount of clothing that people have on in the marketing products because we're dealing with global brands.
right,
So there has to be a certain standard.
right.
And I went back and I was flabbergasted because this woman had on feathers, she had on a skirt, she had on shorts underneath this. I said, what is sexual? It said it flagged it for sexually suggestive content.
That's
The only thing
crazy.
that I could think that was sexually suggestive was the movement of black bodies in tandem. Because
You look too
if
good.
Becky gets away with way less,
Let's talk about it. Let's
but
talk about
that
it, honey.
but I call that the skin gap. I call that the skin gap barrier.
Oh, I
And
like that.
and what happens is you can take two people in the same outfit, and I've done this before in 2012 when we were doing promotions for Miss Bahamas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We had two outfits, the same outfit, two different colored people. One was a white girl and one was Miss Bahamas, right?
Uh-huh.
Her image got pulled down.
Never.
Yeah, because
And I
again,
know she was starring.
the way that we are shaped is considered sensual or over sensual in many spaces.
My natural body. The body God gave me. Okay.
Which is why when you see the advertising coming out of my camp, it's usually inanimate objects because I don't
Mm-hmm.
know today if you might not like my hair.
And that's the thing, because it could be taken down at any time. You know, the video could have been up for months, and then all of a sudden it just black out. And I'm
Right.
like, what are you doing? What's going on? So I understand completely, and all of that is why I said, you know what? Let me see how best I can try to rectify this. So with my website, you're able to not only tap into who is Nishie L.S, because I provide my bio there. I give a brief history of who I am, what I do, what I offer. You get access to my music from that site. You also, get to see me as an artist, different photo shoots that I would have done in the past. All of my up and coming events, as the flyers go out, I post them there. As I do the event, the flyer comes back down, and a new one for the newest event goes up. So it's constantly updated. It's updated practically on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Any new music that comes out, it's posted up there right away, so you can get a taste of it as well. And it also points you to all of my social media platforms. So if you want to tap into my live performances, you can check my TikTok page, you can check my Facebook page. Any little goofy things, or you want to see a different side of me, you can tap into my social media. You can check out my YouTube. If you want to book me, all of my but booking information is there. All my booking contacts are there, and so it gives you everything under one umbrella.
The one thing that you mentioned when you talked about your website was searchability, being able to be
Hmm.
found in this new AI, AEI, SEO
Oh,
space,
the devil,
right?
that devil.
The good and bad of it is that with your own platform, you can now answer all of the questions that people are asking about Nishie L.S. and Bahamian
Right,
music,
right.
putting you at the very top. The bad thing is that other artists are not following suit. So there is a lack of diversity, or yeah, lack of diversity when it comes to when it comes to getting quality sounding Bahamian music. The other thing is there's no record pool for Bahamian artists.
Mm.
I have DJs throughout the US that are of Bahamian descent that
Hmm.
want to play new music but are relegated to playing Ronnie Butler and KB from the 1980s.
Yeah, yeah. And that's so sad. That is so sad. But I feel like artists are trying to catch up now. They are trying to catch up. And you know how we go. It only takes one person to start something and everybody can jump on the bandwagon soon enough. And so I'm relying on our ability to imitate to sort of get us on the level where we need no tea, no shade. Oh Lord, listen, I try to behave for us to get to the level that we need to be, and so it's gonna require someone setting the standard. I believe there's another artist that would have started their website also since I would have done mine. I think it's Shine, and so it's happening slowly but surely. It's happening. And as other artists come up and they see what other artists are doing and how far ahead they are, they're gonna wanna be able to say that they're doing the same thing. And so it's gonna happen. It may take a little longer for others to do it than some, but I'm sure for those that are really serious about it, and there are quite a few of us that are, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. And I'm hoping that it happens sooner than later. I'm really hoping that well then, seeing that is the case now, you could, let DJs out there in the different areas of the United States, and whatever kind of, hey, hit up Nishie L.S. website. The music is there. The
Girl,
music
you
is
know
there.
I'll be promoting y'all
So tap
I
into
got
it.
stocks.
Tap
Like I
into
got
it.
stocks in
Nishie
it.
is connected. Okay, she is connected. Get into the music. All right.
So getting into the music, and this is one thing that I think is important. Bahamian music is very distinct. But
Mm-hmm.
what is the biggest challenge in marketing Nishie L.S. to listeners in London, Toronto, or other parts of the world who might not understand the local slang or rhythms yet?
This is where this is an avenue in my career now that I am tapping into. It is a new area for me, and marketing is definitely something that I feel that I'm personally not that very good at, because I'm such a crab, not a bad one, not the ones that pull you down in the pen, but the ones that like to stay in their shell. I'm very introverted,
I can't
believe it
believe
or
it.
not. Believe it or not. Yeah, I know. You find out how to believe, but I am. And so I've been like sporadically doing like little, I would say personalized videos of me just doing little funny stuff or saying funny things. But I find that the more relatable that you are, the better people connect with you and want to get to know you. And so, it piques their curiosity to want to look into who you are. And I find that it's been working, but my only shortcoming is that it's not as consistent enough. I find that being an entertainer now also requires you to be an online personality more so. That's how Cardi B was able to master it. Cardi B
Right.
mastered her visibility by just being herself, but she was so consistent with it on social media. Like she just did random lives, just talking about random stuff, and just being her funny self, her funny, quirky self. And people connected with her, not just through her music, because she's an amazing artist. And I'm a huge fan. Big up to Cardi. Cardi, I love you. But she allowed people inside on a personal level.
Do you
Boundaries were set, but she allowed them in. That is something I struggle a little bit with because I'm very, very protective of myself.
I was going
And
to ask that because you opened up the conversation saying that you were very private. So that
yes,
seems so
yes.
contrary to
Yes.
your personality.
Who I need to be and what I need to be and what the brand requires. Exactly. Exactly. It's a complete contrast. And so that is where I fall short as far as being able to put myself out there more for more to garner in more people. And I'm working on it. I'm working on it and also considering taking on a marketing team, a creative, maybe taking on a creative that has that experience and knows what it takes to take Nishie L.S to the next level online, because that's pretty much the only way it's going to work. You have to develop. You see, with the past election season, things that you would have never seen a politician do, they're now doing, and they're doing it online because they took on a creative marketing team and they said, "Listen, you want to make an impact. You want people to remember you. You want people to learn more about you. You have to put yourself out there more." And they created scenarios and did funny videos and dances and little different things like that for people to pay attention more or less. And so
I
that's
never
definitely
thought of it that way.
yes, yes. And I've been watching and I've been paying attention. I've really been doing my research on this because I want to take Nishie L.S to another level. And I've never done a music video. As much music as I've released, I've never done a music video.
So when is that going to happen? Because that's one of my
I'm
favorite
working
things.
on it. I'm working. First of all, it's expensive.
It is. But there are
So
people that can,
expensive.
it is.
Oh my goodness. It
But
is
there, where there's
expensive.
a will, there's a way.
And I'm working on it. I swear to you, by the end of summer, going into the fall, I'm gonna have my music video. I'm gonna have it. And then, I may be fun to watch dancing on stage freelance, but put some choreography to me and I have two left feet. That's another thing. That's
Thank God
another
for
thing.
AI.
Girl, listen to me. Listen to me. Can I tell you? But that is something that I'm tapping into this year. I want to work more on marketing. I want to work more on becoming a bigger online presence, and that requires consistency. That requires a lot of time, and that requires a team. That is definitely something I'm not going to be able to do on my own because I don't have the first clue about being an online creator. I have no idea as to how to go about doing that, but I know now for sure if I want to remain relevant, if I want to evolve even more as an artist and get out there, not just locally, but on a global platform, that is going to be a requirement. That's a necessity. And so I'm working towards that now.
Talking about the visuals,
Mhm.
summer 2026, or I should say, coming into spring 2026, not so much on the political level, but from the
Mhm.
soca standpoint, looking at the soca artists and looking at the way that they've been putting out stuff, utilizing
Mhm.
AI, even Vibes Cartel and the reggae sphere with Spice with her new song single, they've really been utilizing the technology
Yeah.
and trying
Yeah.
to find ways to keep engaged and keep active, because as sad as it is, we have to always be on. As
Yep.
long as you are in the public space, you have to always be on. There has to always be a new story. There has to always be new images, new sounds, new something that is going to keep the audience engaged.
Absolutely.
You aren't just a
Absolutely.
singer, you are managing a brand. What has been the most surprising lesson about the business of music that you didn't know when you started?
It moves too fast.
It
It moves too fast. And if you're not
how does
prepared,
it move so how does it move too fast when there are people in
okay,
your space that haven't made an album in 15 years but are touring just as much as you are?
here's my thing with that. Locally, it's possible. Reason being, you're dealing with a demographic of people that find comfort in familiarity. Very rarely our people are on to the next best thing. Very rarely. So you will find that music that they grew up listening to because they had no choice. There wasn't really much options then. The radio stations weren't as vast as they are now. The options weren't as vast as it is now. And so what's been embedded in them for such a long time, what they grew up listening to, what they grew up familiar with, they're always going to embrace that. Our people are always going to embrace that with open arms. So You have the veterans that have been running the same music for the past 2, 3 decades, and it still works because at the end of the day, Bahamians love comfort. They find comfort in what's familiar to them. I sit here now, 2026, 6 years later, lose me is 6 years old, 6 years later, and I am wondering why is it that my people ain't tired of the song yet?
Ain't tired.
They ain't tired. Now,
You tired. You tired.
mind you, mind you, mind you, you're gonna have that staple song that's gonna transcend from generation to generation. There's no arguing that. However, to be able to run the exact same show, the exact same songs for decades, that is not normal. Not in this
That's
day and
muscle
age.
memory.
Not in this day and age. You
Right.
understand? So kudos to my veterans for being able to keep their music alive for this long and being able to move and thrive and flourish with the music that they would have created literally before half of the generation, more than half of the generation that's currently here was born. Hats off to you. But for me, knowing that this is a very short-term attention span generation, I gotta keep up. And the pressure isn't going to be applied to them the way it would to me.
Right.
They're not gonna get that same kind of pressure. KB is KB, funky is funky, sweet Emily, sweet Emily. You see what I'm saying? They know what to expect when they see them. With Nishie gotta be fresh. Nishie gotta be new. Nishie gotta bring something different every time. Every time.
But it also
Nishie
means
come
that
running the
you have
same
to.
show. Ain't gonna work for me.
You're not only competing with the veterans. You're competing with a global market. You're competing
Agreed.
with the social media era. You're competing with the TikTok, and you're competing with other artists. And like I said, in the soca and
Yep.
dancehall realm, I mean, they're constantly dropping records.
Yep.
So if that's what the people are listening to, and you done dropped this one song, must see 8 weeks ago, like that's old. And not for nothing, like as a DJ,
Thank you.
I don't play records. I don't play records more than once in a 90-day span, right? Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
constantly mixing. So
Mm-hmm.
people can constantly download my mixes. So if
Right.
they downloaded a mix last week and then I come back next week and I have the same song in it, why would you come back next week and download something?
Exactly.
So every 90 days,
Exactly.
I'll give that song a play. But by that 90 day, when I play a Nishie song, I need to have a new song to introduce.
Thank you. And this is the pressure I put on my production team. Listen, man, we need to get we need to get back in the studio because these people need new music and it has to be on a consistent basis. And this is what I'm saying. Consistency is key and you got to drive it home and be able to drive it home every time. Every time the expectations are high. And so the standard that you would have held the veterans to, you're not going to hold me to the same standard.
Right.
You're going to expect more from me. And so I have to be on top of my game every time. I've actually already completed another song. I performed it since BRC, which I would have released officially 8 weeks ago, like you said. I would have released a whole nother song since then. And it's called Ready for It.
Well, we're
I
ready
haven't
for it.
officially released it yet, but I did perform it live at Exuma Regatta.
And what was the reception like?
It was good. It was good. You know how my people go. When they hear something for the first time, they stand there like statues and they pay and they listening. They're listening and they're taking it in.
Right.
And a lot of them came to me and the feedback was really good afterwards. I don't expect high energy. I don't expect people to be standing on their head and jumping up and down when I introduce a new song. I want you to take it in. I want you to listen to it. And I want you to get a feel for it so that once it officially releases and it goes, onto the radio waves and you can stream it, you already have an idea as to what to expect. Listen to me. It's a really amazing song. It's a regatta song. It's my official regatta song. And
Okay.
so I would have since completed that project. That project is done. We're only waiting for the final master now. I am in the process of completing 3 more songs. I cannot hang up because I know the standard. I know what other artists out there are doing. I pay very close attention, especially to my soca and reggae dancehall artists in the region. I've been paying attention. And the music is consistent. It's consistent. They riddling out music every other week. I gotta
You
keep
ain't
up.
lying about that. Now,
I gotta keep up.
you keeping up with this, and you have a regatta song coming out. We're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after regatta, or right in between all of this, you have independence coming up. So they're gonna need an anthem for that. Because you
Oh,
can't send me a song today and tell me play that, and then next 2 weeks, we get ready for independence and I don't have something new. I can play the same thing. Girl, don't play with me. Um And
That is what I
this is
am
me in my
saying.
program manager hat. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because when we're programming Carnival Radio, I try to make it so that we put a lot of Bahamian music in there. But I
Yeah. Yeah.
also have to make sure that the music that's playing in the peak hours are new records, because I don't want to sound like mainstream radio where you hearing the same thing 20, like how many times I'm gonna hear spend that.
Yeah. I get it. I get
So
it. I understand completely. I understand
you're
completely.
competing
And
with
this,
the global market. How are you tapping in? How are you using the lessons that you've learned as an artist to compete in those spaces? Because
listen,
the regatta circuit is nice, but Caribbean music festivals are better, and
clock it.
they happen year round. How do
Clock it.
you move from the regatta stages to the music festivals to the carnivals to the Caribbean community events to making sure that you've hit every embassy location in the US? Because that's my goal
Well,
for you.
yes, and they have been calling. They have been calling. So clearly, I'm doing something right, And although I may not be able to make all, because my people down here got me in a chokehold. So every time the embassy is called, I'm already booked for something else, and that broke my heart because I wanted to be in Miami this weekend. I wanted to be in Miami. I was supposed to be in Miami. This is where catalog comes in. This is where your discography comes in. This is where putting out the music on a consistent basis comes in. Because how are you going to be able to grace these stages if you have no material? You can't go on these people's stages singing other people's songs. You can't do it. And so this is where me placing more emphasis now in the studio than on the stage. Give me my studio sessions before you give me a gig, because at the end of the day, if I'm not putting out the music, I'm not going to get the opportunities. And so I'm grateful to the Bahamian diaspora abroad that have been embracing me so far for the year and wanting me to be a part of these events. And my goal is to be able to give them what it is that they're asking for of me. And so I'm in the trenches, I'm in the basement, and I'm working on that music. I'm putting that music out, and I'm creating that presence to where persons can tap in now through my website, where they can tap in and see that Nishi's doing a whole lot more, and she's offering a whole lot more, and she's putting in the work. And so it's a process. It's a very slow process, because you know how our people go. But I'm working. I'm working. And I want my people out there to know that I am working for you. I am putting that work in. I am dedicating my time and my talents, and stressing my producers out to get the music out to you as quickly as we possibly can.
As a woman in the genre, often dominated by male groups, what
Hmm.
does it mean to you to lead the charge for the next generation of female rake and scrape artists?
What does it mean to me? It means a whole lot. First of all, I never thought that I would have been the one that would have been leading the charge. I never thought that that level of responsibility would have been placed on me. Like I said, I walked into this blind, completely oblivious as to what God had in store for me and what it would entail me to do and what would have been required. You know, you sit down and you ask God for things and you don't know what all comes with it, and to be given the mantle to set the standard and to pave the way for up and coming female artists, especially female artists. It's humbling and nerve wracking at the same time, because there's so much required and you're only one person. But to get to the level of understanding to where either you can do this or you ain't, and being the kind of person where my back against the wall, I come in and fight and I go in. I don't lose. That level of determination and grit and tenacity is something that I pride myself on. And to know that I've had little girls in school call me their role model, and to have high school bands call me their mentor, and to have other up and coming female artists call me all hours of the day and night asking for advice on this and advice on that and what to do with this and how to handle that, and asking, wanting to know information about the business. It's exhausting, but at the same time, I understand the mission, and to be placed in the position to be that person, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm humbling, because the one thing I definitely want to be able to leave is a legacy. And this is the way to do it. This is how it happens.
If you could sum up the journey from being an officer to the main stage in one sentence, what would it be?
A whirlwind. This has been a whirlwind. Don't expect balance because it doesn't exist. Some things you're going to fall short on. Some areas are going to be neglected from time to time. But the end result, once you apply yourself, is going to be what you need it to be. And it's going to benefit both sides. Consistency in being disciplined and understanding what's most important in that moment is how both, although at some point may get neglected, will still get what it needs. I know that was more than one sentence, but
Well, we are coming to a close. Let everybody know how they can find you online. It has been
well,
such a pleasure. Thank you for getting inside the festival with yours truly, Africa Allah, right here on Discover Music Channel by Playmaster today, streaming on carnivalradio.live.
well, thank you so much for having me. This has been definitely a very interesting conversation because it not only got me to give people a bit more of an insight of as to who I am, not only as an individual but as an artist, but it also put my feet to the fire, you know. And you've opened this conversation has opened my eyes to a whole lot of things that I need to not only tap into but pay more attention to. And so I'm grateful for this conversation because I'm about to call my manager the minute I hang up from you. I'm about to call him because we need to have a talk. But you can find me on all social media platforms. But before you tap into that, tap into the website, nishiels.com, nishiels.com. It has everything that is Nishi, all of my music, photography, my bio, all of my upcoming events, and all booking information is there. And then you can find me on all of the social media platforms: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, all of that. You can find me at Nishie L.S. For Instagram, Nishie underscore L.S. But everything that is Nishie, you can Google me. You can find me everywhere. I am absolutely everywhere. There's no way that you can miss me. Oh, and don't forget to stream the new music, okay? It's everywhere. Apple Music, YouTube, Spotify, everywhere.